Welcome to Aurora Shores, or if you caught yesterday's live stream, welcome back to Way the Hunter's newest upcoming map that releases tomorrow, February 23rd. Now, the plan for today is to do two different videos, and I say that's the plan because I find often when playing Way the Hunter, I go for longer than I intend to, so if you're watching this video at release around 12 o'clock, there will be two different hunts today. What I want to do is one hunt now, just kind of going around the entire map, trying to see as many of the new species as we can, and just kind of shooting whatever we see with the 30-06. Then, later on this evening, I want to focus on the crossbow and see what we can do with that. So that's going to be the goal. We'll see if we can accomplish that, and let's head out here on Aurora Shores. And our first encounter of the day is with the new Alaska moose. Now, we got to see quite a few of these on stream, and they are actually quite different than the moose over on Nez Perce. This guy is a 2-star mature, and they're just kind of walking right at us. The wind is not that good, so I think we'll end up taking them with the 30-06 anyway. I have noticed the rangefinder on the binoculars seems to range through the animals, so I've really been working on ranging the ground, because that'll give you a much more accurate estimate, because you see what's happening here. That seems to be a thing with everything on this map. I don't think that was the case on Nez Perce, so hopefully that gets fixed. But, I mean, he might give us a shot with a crossbow. The crossbow zeroes out to 55 yards. I'd like him at 30, but if he's going to walk right down the road, he'll get to 30. I'm not saying it's a great idea. I've not shot anything nearly this big with a crossbow yet, but it may just work out. He's approaching 40 there and turning pretty broadside. Let's actually zero this thing for like 33. This is unreal. I can't believe he's making it this perfect of a shot opportunity. 0 for 33. I think he's probably at it now. Let's try. Oh, that hit way further back than I wanted. I guess it's a little slower than you would expect. I feel like we gotta hit him with the 30-06. That'll work. So where did that actually hit? Good to know that we should try to stop them. I don't even see the initial blood. He was like on the road. I don't know where it's at. I mean, we can look at it in the harvest screen anyway. And it looks like a vital hit on the follow-up? I can't believe we got him that easily. Oh, I guess we shot this one on stream. There were a number of things that we attempted to take with like the 243. I'll explain a little bit more about that in just a moment. So then, shot 2 was also with the 243. Shot 3 is going to be with the crossbow. This is the one we're looking for, and we were at 39 yards. Too low and too far back. It definitely requires you to be pretty precise. But I mean, we would have hit the lungs if he was standing still and we aimed where we did. So that's good to know. And then finally, left lung shot with the 30-06 at 50 yards on the run. What a bizarre circumstance. It looks like we hit the heart, but evidently we didn't. But what's important here is taking a look at the models. And what I found is basically anything that's not like a really old mature has much darker fur than what we've seen on Nez Perce. The really old ones are obviously gray, but I even think the antlers generally are a little bit different. We saw a 3-star mature that we didn't shoot, which, thinking back, we should have, because we're not going to be on this like beta save long enough for him to reach 5 stars, if you will. But not too bad. We're still going to get 500 credits despite the loss of 300 pounds of meat. A little better shooting that guy would be worth a whole lot more, but credits and such are going to be important today. This will not matter for you guys that are getting the map when it comes out tomorrow. Specifically for early access here. In order to get this to work, I had to start a fresh game. So your money, your equipment, all that stuff's going to carry over. You won't have to re-unlock perks and all that good stuff. But in our case, for this video, we are going to have to be doing that. So you'll notice maybe we're going to call more animals in than we typically would to try to unlock the second tier calls, all that. But that won't be a thing for regular play. It is specific to early access. Now, I'm actually pretty glad to see a roosevelt elk as one of the first species we encountered today, because I'm very confident their antlers are bugged, and we'll get a little bit closer to kind of look into that. I can't tell. I think he might know we're here. We can probably make that shot with the 30-06. I honestly trust this thing maybe more than I trusted like the 350. Gonna be about 164 out. That will work. Did we hit the spinal cord or something? I don't know how that would have dropped him, but basically, almost every Roosevelt elk I've seen, other than maybe one really big one and one smaller one, has super uneven antlers, and I'm pretty confident it's a bug. I've not seen it confirmed anywhere, but just from what I've seen, I think I have an idea of what's actually going on. So let's jump into the harvest screen here, because we're not going to be able to see much as it lays here. Essentially, if we go into the inspect screen, it's got one small antler and one huge antler. I think both antlers are supposed to be basically this size, and what's happening is it shows one correctly and one like maybe 5-star antler or something like that. I'm unsure if that part is right, if it's showing a 5-star, but one that is way too big. When you see an 11% male, especially as a young, obviously this side is what's supposed to be happening, and that big side is not supposed to be there. So hopefully that'll be fixed. I don't know exactly if it'll be fixed, soon after launch or whatever, but what I do know is we saw a 4-star mature on stream, and actually, I'm hoping as we move forward to the next day from here, it may have a chance to age. We'll see if we can find that today. But it was very even and looked just fine. So the big ones are still going to be okay, but most of the adults and youngs and stuff do look pretty funny, and hopefully that'll only be for a short period of time. I've gotta say, Alaska is being pretty kind to us thus far, right into another new species, and that being the barren-ground caribou. Now, both of these are pretty small ones, and they will respond to the rattle bag. This call is really nice, because it calls in 4 different species: the caribou, Sitka black-tailed deer, and I think both mule deer and whitetail, so really useful to have in your loadout. But both of these guys are way on the low end of how big caribou can get. Now, I wouldn't mind giving the crossbow another shot, so I think we may do that, because I felt like had we just led that moose a little bit more, we could have seen much more of what it can do. So we'll probably end up shooting the young, but if we can get a crack at it around 30 yards again, I'd like to do it. Unfortunately, they're kind of walking in a single file line, so you can barely see the one behind it, but it does give us a chance to see the models up close. I think the youngs are a little bit light in color, but it's almost a necessity to allow you to be able to identify age by the fur color, so I understand why they've done it, but the adults and the matures look way better to me. We're looking at probably about 30 yards there. Again, we have to range the ground at their feet. That's been a little bit tough to get used to. I think we'll actually zero for maybe 28, and we'll give this a try as a frontal shot. That looked like just what we wanted, right kind of inside the shoulder, and he looks like he's smoked. Now, that is more or less what we've been able to accomplish with the crossbow. On stream, we shot, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 of these, and nothing else. Now, this does actually give us the opportunity to look at one other odd thing. They're a little bit farther in the distance than I would have liked, but the female caribou antlers are a little bit bigger than I would like. They're all the same, which I don't really mind because female animals in this game don't have genetics, but I'd like them to be a little bit smaller. We'll take a look at another herd and get to see them a little bit up closer, but I'm hoping that can maybe be adjusted as well. I think even just something like this would be fine for the females, but he actually died in a good spot. Maybe a good time to get a picture and see the new character. So this is Jackie. I don't remember her last name. We can see that in the encyclopedia just quickly, but let's take the photo because the animals can't actually move. I've had things fall over sitting like this. So it actually turned out pretty nice. We'll first look at the caribou itself and the shot. So what's cool is the crossbow bolt actually spins in the harvest screen, which I love. Now, somebody on stream pointed out it should stop spinning as it enters the animal. That probably is true, but I don't mind that it continues because I just think it's really neat they actually replicate that. But a frontal shot, I mean, again, we tuck that right in along the shoulder. It's almost touching the liver, so frontal shots with the crossbow, no big deal. You would like to see a little more damage, but a lot of the cavity damage is doing plenty there. Just due to the way that calling animals works in this game, I think consistently you're going to have to go for frontal shots, and it's good to know at least on deer-sized species that will work. Another thing to note, by the way, there are, I think, 2 crossbows with this update. This one, I'm pretty sure, is just going with the update. I don't think you need the DLC to be able to buy this one. The other one, I don't know if it's because of the issues I've had with early access and stuff. I can't seem to get a hold of it, so we'll have to wait for launch for that. Before we forget, the name of this character is Jackie Makovich, so we get the entire name out there. That will be your playable character here on Aurora Shores. Now, as we continue forward, I do want to take a look at what has been the biggest caribou I've seen thus far in game, and that was a 2-star mature. You can also see alongside it some of the female caribou, which have, I think, a little bit oversized antlers for what you would expect, especially compared to, you know, the 1-star youngs and adults that we have seen. But this guy only is a 2-star mature. Still looks really, really big. Able to take him even with the starter scope, and the cool thing is going up and claiming him. He ends up being an 84%, and I think part of that's probably because this isn't primary habitat for caribou, so probably in their primary habitat, which is like the highland forest and mountains, an 84% would be bigger. But I think that high percentage gives you probably a good look at what to expect for the frame. So probably way bigger than this, but a general idea of what the frame's going to look like. And if they look like that, we're going to have a hard time leaving this map, because 5-star caribou are going to be incredible. As we're kind of closing in on dusk here, we've got another look at the roosevelt elk, and actually we get to see all of the different kind of coloration. So this is a young, and again, that bigger antler obviously is not meant to be there, but they're very kind of orange in color. The adults are orange towards the back end, and then sort of brown up through the neck and head, and then the matures are pretty gray. So I went ahead and gave that guy a call just to try to basically shoot a called animal to work on getting the higher tier calls. I don't know frontal with the 30-06. Hopefully that'll be fine. It looks like it's gonna be. And by the way, I don't like to generally kind of harp on obvious flaws like the elk antler that we just saw there, but this dev team has been so good about fixing stuff like that. I think it's best to just make sure it's out there, make sure it's known, because I feel that confident that it is going to be fixed. But at least in this case, we actually get to see one that is, I think, just correct, a 1-star mature that we did have coming into a call, so that will help us unlock the higher tier calls. And how does a 30-06 do on a roosevelt? I don't know if they would be the exact same as a Rocky, but that actually did better than the 350. And again, that's why I'm confident using it on elk and stuff at maybe some odd angles. It's a really good gun. That guy was 40%, and again, just to actually see what is kind of a proper model for a mature roosevelt elk, not too bad. I like it. I think they've done a pretty decent job of adding more mass, because that's typically what you see with kind of bigger rosies. So that's kind of cool. We will sell that. That made us 600 credits too. And we are now at about 6 o'clock. So we'll work our way maybe down to the end of the road here, and we'll probably call that good and rest the morning. So we're on to a new day, and we have 4 new species yet to see in this video. Those are the Kodiak bear, the Sitka blacktail deer, surf scoter, and wood bison. I'm 100% sure we can find the wood bison and surf scoter. As for the other 2, I've only seen 1 herd of Sitka blacktail, and they were right in this area, so if we can't find those, I cannot promise we'll see any of those in this video. As for the Kodiaks, I have literally no clue where they are, so I don't think we're going to see one. Maybe we do stumble into them, but real quick again, just to see the female caribou antlers, I wonder if maybe those are the mature ones, because I was just thinking it would make sense if the young ones had like really tiny antlers, maybe something like this, the adults were a bit bigger, and maybe if the matures were like that, that would be one thing. So hopefully that's more so what's going on, but we will, I guess, find out going forward. The other herd of caribou is going to take off, but this was a decent-ish 1-star adult. The one side was good anyway, kind of comparable to the 2-star mature that we shot. And luckily, he fell with that side showing, so you see the tops are like really solid. He was coming into a low fitness call, so he must still be below 50%. Hard shot him with the 30-06, he is 49.71%, barely got him coming in. But I mean, not too bad. You imagine like those sides matching when it's an adult, you'd really think it's going to be big when it reaches mature, but we'll go ahead and sell that, and we'll try to take our time up in here, maybe see if we can find those Sitka deer, because I'd like to get another look at them. And right on cue, they're coming right down the airstrip. That is a theme, it seems, with this map. Animals do like to either cross the airstrip or walk down it, which wouldn't really shock me if that was a thing in real life. I really do have to appreciate the detail, too, of having the airstrip right here at the main lodge. I mean, that's it right up there. It would make sense if you're flying in to hunt this area that there would be an airstrip right at the lodge, so I do like that. We'll go ahead and try to get closer. We'll try to call these in, because what I've seen of the bucks, They're definitely way smaller than mule deer and whitetail in terms of antlers, which they should be. But hopefully maybe one of these will have aged, because I think they were all youngs last time we saw them. And we'll kind of try to get a better look. I would say, at least with the scope, that's probably close enough to get a decent look. We'll first spot them and see what's what. We've got a 1-star mature there, a 1-star adult, another 1-star mature, and a 1-star young in the back. So good again, we get to see all of the different coat colorations. But when we zoom in on the antlers in particular, I'm really happy to see some forking and stuff, because what we had seen in the first herd, because I actually don't think this is the same herd, was all spikes, and I was worried they would kind of be that. So you see, this guy's left side has 3 tines. He has a spike on the right, and the other one looks to be a mirror image of that. So we'll get the closer one just for the sake of it. Wouldn't mind getting 2, but I don't think we're going to manage to. They might have knew we were here, so unless they do that thing where they kind of stand around for a minute, we'll let them go. Now, I do think they seem to be lacking that, like, stereotypical neck patch. Because Sitka blacktail have a very kind of distinct neck patch, which I don't really see with these. The rest of the models, though, like the face and stuff, I think they do look really good. And I'm happy to see, too, that the antlers aren't going to be that big, because that is how it should be. Oh, we hit this one. I don't even remember doing this. We shot this with the crossbow? Unless we... Oh, no, we did. I didn't think we hit it. I'll show the highlight on stream. So, what happened was, we were calling in Sitka and Caribou. The Caribou got too close and spooked, and I kind of yeeted a shot at these ones as they were moving away. And we actually hit it. Then we got a hard shot with the 30-06. What a bizarre video this has been. We're finding all kinds of stuff that we hit on the stream. But this guy is a 37%. Now, that explains a lot. Now I understand what is happening. So, obviously, the antlers weren't that big. I wonder if maybe, because this isn't actually even what we had. There was actually a spike on this side. I wonder if these are mule deer antlers kind of repurposed for the Sitka blacktail and are showing as mule deer size. What will it look like in the lodge? There's only one way to find out. We'll tax that. But what we had seen in the trophy lodge kind of concerned me about what the big Sitka were going to look like. Because if we go to the lodge, and we'll do that right now, this is what the, like, placeholder Sitka deer looks like. And obviously that is not what you would ever expect to see with a Sitka deer. So I'm hoping that when we mount this, yeah, that is actually what we had. Thank goodness. Alright, I don't know what the deal is with the harvest screen and stuff. I think maybe they're a little smaller than what we actually saw. That might be about right. Hard to tell from a distance, but yeah, much better that at least what you see on the hoof is what ends up in the trophy lodge. I was a little worried when we saw that harvest screen. So a couple of antler related things definitely that need to be fixed, but it seems like the main things, the immersion and stuff, are all okay, other than the elk. That one needs to be figured out. And literally right outside the lodge, we've got the next species, the wood bison. They appear to probably be walking down to a drink zone, and I do have to say, this map from like 9 to 12 will spoil you. There are so many animals in view, like out in the open near the water, that you start to get used to seeing that. Once you get past the drink times for everything though, it is much harder to actually find things, which I think is good. That's kind of similar to the other maps, but I would even say this one is more so just teeming with wildlife during their drink time, because wood bison, caribou, Sitka blacktail deer, elk, they all drink at the same time. So as you're walking down along these creeks, you just stumble into herd after herd of all kinds of stuff. Now, I talked before about being able to trust the 30-06. We were able to, on stream, take down a wood bison just with that and a lung shot. So that's going to be what we attempt to do here. I probably want to go for the shot when he's in the open. And that quartering angle probably makes it even better. So I think he's hit good for the sake of it. I actually don't know if that shot hit him or not. I want to make sure we get one more in him, because it maybe was a lung hit but not a lethal hit. Whatever it was, it did bring him down within maybe 200 yards. The first track there was not the initial impact. So we actually hit him all 3 times, but the first shot was a lethal lung hit. He just wasn't stumbling yet, but again, little underpowered weapon for the bison. That's maybe not too surprising. Not the worst idea, though, to get some more of them. That one was intestines, so that probably didn't help that much. Third one did next to nothing. Still got him down, though. He was a 42%, and I wouldn't mind going into this, because I think their models are quite good. I do want to see one in the Trophy Lodge. I don't know how much that would cost, and we kind of need the credits. I guess we can afford just one. We'll taxidermy that to take a look at it later. So just quickly, this is the 4-star Rosie that I mentioned, and unfortunately he is still a 4-star. I don't know if the day that we just restitute would have had animals age or not, but I want to leave him go, just in case. He looks pretty gray, but on the off chance he can actually reach 5, I'd love to see what that can actually be, but he looks good and even. Maybe he's got another year or two left in him and he can get there, but I like what they're kind of going for there. I think they've done a decent job of differentiating the Rosie racks and the Rocky Mountain racks. And you can also see, too, a couple of these guys that are basically not that weird uneven rack. There is one in here, I think, that guy there that still is. I wonder if it's just initial spawns, because we're seeing more and more that look correct. So these are the Surf Scoters, and I guess because we don't have a shotgun, we're probably going to try to blast one with the 30-06. We could, in theory, use the crossbow, but if we're off by a bit, we're just going to send the entire flock off. Now, I thought, yeah, there's a 4-star mature there, which I think was a 3-star mature last time, so I think potentially things have aged, which isn't a great sign for our elk, but let's just go ahead. We'll maybe take the closest one there, got the 0 for 55, and just kind of do that. It's not going to get us any credits, but it'll give us a up-close look at the model. It's unfortunately going to be kind of tough to see live here, just because it's through the water. But you get to see that coloration on the beak and stuff, which is of course replicated here in the harvest screen. So I think the best thing is to go to this and inspect. I still think, like most ducks, the models themselves are a little off, but they're not too bad. And I do believe these ducks are a little bit bigger than, say, like the wild ducks and lesser scalp. This is a 2.6 pounder, and it's a 2-star, so upwards of 3 pounds, I would say, easily will be the really big ones. 2 credits for that, so I guess better than had we shot a wild duck with a 30-06. And that is now, of the 7 new species, 6 of them in this hunt. The one thing I can think of is that in the trailer, the Kodiak bear was shown way up in the mountains, so I think we're going to make our way up through there and see if we can stumble into one. But in the meantime, down here at this little mountain pond, there is a moose, kind of not offering a shot, but I mean, we could go for a headshot. We were doing that a little bit on the stream. There's elk here too. I mean, we could just try to call one up, I guess. And at least at first glance, that guy is not bad. In theory, he has to be below 50%. I can't tell if he's looking at us, or if he just happens to be standing there like that. He's still coming in. Just a 1-star adult does say alerted. I don't know if that's due to like the warning call before, or if he does kind of know we're here. It's a weird angle to go for a heart shot. I think we're just going to intentionally try to hit a lung here. Just going to tuck that in along the shoulder. And for the sake of it, just make sure we get him, because we've gone through all the effort to try to call him in. I wonder if that messes with the perk for being able to get higher tier calls. I guess it depends on what shot was the kill shot. It's definitely causing me to hunt a little bit different, just only having a 30-06 for even some of the bigger game. But I mean, in this case, it would have worked fine. We basically did exactly what was planned. Tucked that shot in along the shoulder, and like reaching down to the heart there would have been tough. Shooting in between the lungs maybe wouldn't have been the best idea. Second shot basically did us no good. It's right in the shoulder blade. I thought it was maybe far forward, but 38%. I almost feel like, yeah, these antlers are probably maybe not what we should be seeing. There must be some other value kind of hidden below that somewhere, but ends up making them look like a pretty good sized elk. I want to get the credits, but we're going to tax that too, because I'm curious what shows in the lodge again. Anyway, we're going to keep working our way up through these mountain ponds, see if we stumble into like a Kodiak bear trail or something, and maybe see if we can find one. Unfortunately, though, to be fair, expectedly, coming down the backside of this mountain range, and no sign of any Kodiak bears, so I'm still not sure where the best place to encounter them might be, and it could be up this mountain. We may have just been in the wrong spot, but let's jump back to the lodge. We do have the elk and bison that we mounted. Now, there's no way we can afford the full body mounts, but on this, we can place either one. I kind of want to do the bison. That will cost only $430. That's not too bad. I don't know if that's the way that I'd like to mount the bison necessarily, but we're just not going to have enough credits to do it. That doesn't look too bad, though. And actually, too, one thing I've, like, barely paid any attention to is the size of the horns. This was a 1-star adult, pretty tiny horns, which is what you'd expect. So I really want to see the difference between, you know, one like this and what a 5-star is going to look like. As for the elk, we'll try to find a spot we can reach where it'll actually show. I think this will do what we want to see. Hopefully the antlers aren't going to clip through the roof. It'll be kind of close, and it does appear, though, that it's showing what we actually saw, which I guess in a way is good. Like, if the antlers are kind of bugged and maybe this isn't as big as it should have been, because again, this was a 37% 1-star adult, you'd still, I guess, want to be able to see what you saw when you shot it. So that much is good, but I definitely don't think he should have been that big. I don't know if what we're looking at would potentially be a 5-star Roosevelt, like if the antlers were working as intended. Maybe. And if that's the case, again, I think they did a pretty decent job of it, but I'm having way too much fun on this map. If we don't end now, I'm going to end up here for too long and not be able to get the crossbow video out, so that's going to be the plan. We will wrap this up and be right back out here at the normal upload time, 5 p.m. Eastern, with a crossbow hunt here on Aurora Shores. So, as always, thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.